If that white blank wall is staring at you, pass on the basic art print and spring for something unique. Linda Iverson is a designer with Robert MacArthur Studios. Today she is pushing us outside the box to display not only beautiful, but meaningful art. Linda, welcome to Studio 5.
Thank you.
You believe, and I love this claim, that art, interesting art, is the very best way to elevate our homes.
Absolutely. I think I've had this philosophy that our homes are our memory keepers, right? And so they should be filled with things that not only bring us joy, but they tell a story about who we are, where we've been. And unique art and original art is, I think, the best way to do that.
It becomes that finishing layer, and I think it's the layer that at least I notice as a visitor in someone's home, that layer that, like you said, carries so much meaning and memory that people will ask about it, and it will become that conversation piece. Your first piece of advice for us is to step outside of our comfort zone, to think beyond the basics.
Yeah, absolutely. I think sometimes people think, oh, I've moved into my home, I have this big blank wall, I'm gonna go to, Home Goods or whatever and just buy something generic. But I'm hoping today we can maybe spark some energy and some creativity with your viewers and think, okay, what can I do that would maybe represent who I am, and do something creative and elevating your home by not having what everybody else does.
Yeah, so there's the challenge. What can I put in that frame to tell my story?
Right.
This is a great example.
So this is an example of that. My roots are in the fashion industry, and so I really have an appreciation for the artistry and the design element. And if you look, this beautiful scarf has so many detail and just, really great design elements, which would be really hidden if you used it in a traditional way.
True.
And so by framing it, it now creates an art piece that is unique, that to me has personal meaning, because it reminds me of a part of my life that I appreciate.
It's probably energizing to you.
It is. And I think it's just a fun, different piece.
I love it. I love it. Sometimes you don't even need a frame. You like to hang interesting things that we might not consider hanging at first glance.
Right.
Tell us about the balloon molds that you hung recently.
Okay. So the balloon mold is also another thing I found actually at High Point Market. They're vintage balloon molds. Again, you see this texture, it's 3D, and so a lot of people don't maybe necessarily know what it is, but for me, I always look for things that are just kind of unique and eye-catching and different.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to always have meaning, but I think it just adds dimension and something that's visually interesting to your space.
I love this example, Linda, because this could turn a trip to the thrift store into this fun hunting experience. I look around at these objects and say, what's unique, what's interesting, what could add that texture and dimension to this wall that's not a picture frame.
Right, and I think you've hit it on the head. Looking in with vintage, I think so many times we miss the mark when we don't bring old things in and mix. That we need that heritage, we need that lived in feel. We don't want it to just feel all too shiny.
I understand you even put skis on the wall.
Once
upon a time.
We did, yes. So we've got, down in our basement, it's kind of an ode to my husband. I always call it like vintage Ralph Lauren room,
Well, you put the Gucci scarf on the wall, so he deserves this.
So this is a picture of down in our kind of our rec room of sorts. And so these skis actually are found out of Hungary. Found in old barns. So they are true vintage skis. And then we've just hung them on the wall as art.
I love it.
Because our family is really into skiing. We love that. And so that really represents our family culture.
I love it. I love it. And speaking of family culture or family memories, you say we can put under glass things that really matter to you. You've got an example here of a beautiful framed recipe in original handwriting. I've done this in my pantry as well.
Oh, yes.
It means so much, doesn't it, to see the mark of someone you love on your wall?
It does. So the story of this is my grandmother, who was known for her cooking, and in her latter years, I had messaged her and asked for a recipe, and she said, "Oh, dear, I will just send you my book. In fact, just keep it." And all of my siblings were like, wait, you got grandma's? You got grandma's? I said, I promise I did not ask her for it.
I didn't ask for it, but if we want to talk about who's her favorite, now would be a good time to do it.
Yeah, but to honor her, I framed it's in her handwriting. You can see it's got kind of the grease spills, which I think really adds.
And the splatters, yes.
Yes, and I keep it right to the side of my cooktop. And so as I'm cooking and making food for my family, I am always reminded of that relationship that I had with her, and it's tender to me.
I'm going to ask you about custom framing in a minute, but I want to point out how lovely this was framed with the linen. Is that linen?
It is.
As the mat, and then this gorgeous frame to complement kind of the age and time of that handwriting, of that mark. That's so amazing. You've done a similar effect with children's art as well?
Yeah, so my kids are, you know, like our kids.
They're Picassos.
They love to draw and to do things.
Mine too.
So, you know, there's an image of, we love Halloween at our house. It's a big deal. And so my son and my daughter had drawn, you know, from a movie.
Jack Skellington.
Jack Skellington.
Yeah.
And so just putting it in a simple, I mean, that's just a ready-made frame.
Yeah.
And just displaying that.
But that's art to talk about.
You know, made them feel so, you know, proud, and it's fun. And my kids are old now, but this is when they were younger, so and we still have it.
Means the world to you.
It's a memory.
Original art. You say don't overlook original pieces. In fact, there's many local artists that offer art at prices that might surprise people.
Right, right. I think sometimes when we think, oh, original art, oh, it's tens and thousands of dollars and these famous artists, which can be true.
Yeah.
But original art really is accessible to everyone. There are a lot of local shows. There's a Utah art market that's actually coming up soon. Local galleries. Tyler Hunsaker is one of my favorites. He's a local artist. He's actually done a commissioned piece for me, which I did splurge on, but it's something that, again, when I walk by, it brings me joy. It has meaning that is specific to me.
Yes.
And so not only is it beautiful, but it's meaningful.
It's special.
And so, yeah, but you know, this piece here is really beautiful. I actually found this on Etsy.
Oh.
It's from, I believe, Ukraine.
Okay, wow.
And this piece in of itself was under $200.
Okay.
Original.
So be
smart. And then I framed. But you can find, if you look on Etsy or these local shops, sometimes even thrift markets, you know, they'll have original. And I think art should be something that just speaks to you.
Yeah. Yeah, we hear that all the time.
And you don't have to necessarily say, oh, this is a famous person or this, you know.
But it meant something to me.
It meant something to you.
We're out of time, Linda, but give me your best tip on custom framing and maybe a piece of advice for someone who feels like they can't afford that custom treatment.
Right, right. So this is just off-the-shelf art, you know, but it's framed in a beautiful piece, you know, taken off that frame that comes with it. Yeah. And it really can elevate it. If you feel like even custom framing isn't in your budget, a ready-made frame with a mat cut from the framers.
Makes
a
all the
linen mat
difference.
could really elevate that piece.
Well, as we say goodbye, you've got a great way to get a good deal on custom framing.
I do. So our great friends at Brushworks have offered all of the viewers here 20% off their first framing. If you just mention Robert MacArthur Studios, 20, you get 20% off your first framing. So,
great advice, great ideas, and thanks for that hookup on the
Thank
framing.
you.
Thank you, Linda. We appreciate it.